decided to come in here since I have the moment to, and just give a brief update. So I am about a month, a little bit less than a month out from my tongue release. I went to the craniosacral therapist for the second time this last Friday, and it was super cool. She gave me a little extra time. She really worked on these areas. And when you go to the craniosacral therapist, they primarily work at the back of your neck. They work under your jaw. They work underneath your sacrum and your pelvis, and also kind of at the shoulders and also inside your mouth. If you want that, they will oftentimes do work inside your mouth, which is super cool. Because of course, if you're getting your tongue released, you're gonna have all this other stuff in there that needs to get stretched out. Interestingly, my right side was super tight compared to my left side, like as far as being in there. And she uses a glove and everything, so it's not super weird to me. And also something really interesting happened. So there's a couple times when she's been doing the craniosacral therapy that I will feel like there's something moving. It's like I feel like there is something moving, like there's a bone moving or something is moving, but she's not moving it. It's just my body is shifting. That happened a couple times with different places on my head and my jaw. It felt like someone was bringing my jaw, like pulling my jaw forward, but she wasn't doing that. Her hands were in a completely different spot. It was my jaw moving and releasing. And also this time something super cool happened because she was working again on that back of my neck, and maybe 10 minutes into doing that, I got this sensation of like right here at my chest, like maybe second rib, first or in between that first intercostal space underneath my collarbone, right on top of that bone, I started to feel like someone was blowing up a balloon inside my rib cage, like if like an inflation of a breath, but I wasn't breathing into it. And it just felt like something was pulling and releasing, like a fascia release. Like if someone was doing myofascial release and you feel the muscle release, that would happen. So it was so cool because it was like right there. And then she was working at the back of my neck. And later on, she was like, "Did you feel that?" I was like, "Yeah, I totally did feel that." Because it was really crazy because she was not even in that area, but the fascia is so connected there that this whole area just had a big release. So it was really cool. And of course, whenever I leave those appointments, I'm super relaxed, like sleep. I mean, I sleep well in general, but after CST, like I almost feel like I am going from being more sympathetic mode. So there's the two sides of the nervous system, parasympathetic and sympathetic. It's like I almost feel like that it pushes me into real parasympathetic, really chill. So usually for the first few days afterwards, I'm a little bit like more tired or just more emotional or something because you're kind of working things out. But anyway, it was really super cool. And also I had an appointment with my myofunctional therapist. She gave me my last 4 or 5 exercises to do before the release. And I'm supposed to do those, and then she will meet with you right after the release is done. But one of them, I'm still working on getting my tongue up the right way, because you don't want it to droop down on the sides. You want it to really fit inside your arch, kind of. You can see how tight I am right there. That just shows you, like, you think you're not that tight, and then you start trying to do some of these exercises and you're like, oh yeah, I'm very tight. So she swapped out some of the ones that I had done before. She swapped out, I added some new ones, and I also still have some old ones. So I'm really excited. I'm already starting to feel even more stretching and strengthening from these new ones than I had been for the other ones. So I'm excited. For this video, I'm kind of hiding away here in my bedroom because my kids are not down for their nap yet. But I wanted to show you guys something interesting. So when I went for my myofunctional therapy today via Zoom, she was saying something about when you're doing the suction and hold, which is a classic, tongue preparatory exercise. I was doing it like this. See how the sides are drooping down? So she challenged me from now until when I get my tongue released to start doing it like this. And oh my, that pulls so much more right under here where it's so tight. I'm sore like at the floor of my mouth from doing that just for the last few days. So that was like very interesting when you realize like there's another layer to it that maybe I hadn't been doing before. So it just helps stretch stretch all of that in there. And you really, for me, I was like, oh yeah, I have a tongue tie, I know I do, but you don't really realize how restricted you are until you start doing these exercises. Let me tell you, it's like, oh, I had no idea that my tongue is that tied. So makes me look forward to the release even more. So I'm here on the couch. My kids are taking a nap. I kind of feel like taking a nap. I don't feel good today. I think I'm having some kind of a detox thing. Cause I feel like I kind of have a headache right above this eye. This is where I always get them, and I know it's because of my left trap that always gets irritated. But I've actually heard that when you're retraining muscles to work that have not been working before, it can kind of make the existing muscles kind of irritated, like that they're being pushed out of the equation when they've been working hard for so many years. They kind of like, get like super tight again. So actually my myofunctional therapist said that might happen, where you kind of have like days where you have headaches or you feel like you're kind of foggy, and as you can see, my hair is terrible. But yeah, it's interesting. So I'm just gonna kind of lay low. I don't do well with slowing down. But I'm gonna try to get a little more sleep tonight. Because I feel like I've had a couple times. Actually, this is the first headache I've had since I have started the therapy, which is cool. I was expecting to have more coming in as I started working on jaw alignment and tongue stuff and all that jazz. But actually, I'm kind of impressed that this is the first kind of headache, not feel great day that I've had. Now, I have noticed that I've had some emotional stuff coming up. Like, I randomly the other day, after I'd had some craniosacral done, and it was pretty deep work. I'd had some chiropractic done, and I was like randomly, I think I was working out, and I started to feel like I was gonna cry for no reason, and I was like, what's that? And then I started thinking about some situation from my daughter's birth, which was kind of a big deal. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts there. I won't go into all that, but it's just weird. Like that came up, and I like started crying about it, like randomly, something that happened 3 years ago. So I'm sure there's going to be more like that. And I've just got to hang in there, for the process. Cause it's you're repatterning your body. You're retraining muscles that have not been used before. Like I mentioned, I've been having soreness right under here and kind of on the sides, from where those new muscles are starting to work. Obviously I won't be able to fully like use my tongue exactly how it's supposed to be used until I have it released, but I'm kind of mimicking those patterns, mimicking the things that I'll be doing right, so that when I do get it fixed, I will, have that full range of motion. But anyway, just wanted to update. So I just got done with, this is why I look kind of frazzled. It's like whenever I get done with one of these massages, it's like, I'm like, what year is it? Where's my car? Where's my keys? I'm so out of it. Anyway, but I just had a really awesome massage, and we're walking right by. And it was so awesome. I love, she did a bunch of range of motion stuff with my like arms and legs as she was releasing the muscles. She did some hot stones, she did some cupping. So yeah, it was super awesome. And she actually confirmed what I feel, which is that I feel like I have, like pre-tie release, I feel like I have this line that goes from the back of my skull all the way down to my pelvis and then down my left leg of this knot. I feel like it's this one long knot that goes back of my neck all the way to the ankles. And so she was like, yeah, you definitely have that, it's always validating, because I feel like sometimes I'm making that up or I'm imagining it, but then it's like, no, you have that. It's definitely there. So, but I really enjoyed it. It was super awesome. Like I said, whenever I get done with these, I'm like so relaxed. I just want to go like lay in the bed and chill, because it really releases a bunch of stuff, I feel like. And I also noticed that my rib cage angle is better, so my left rib cage tends to like stick out a little more, and I feel like she got that to calm down, which is super cool. Vlog today because we're literally getting ready to go to church, but wanted to pop on and say I'm like 4 or 5 days out from the release, and I'm noticing some interesting pulling sensations. And of course, the tongue actually interacts with the vagus nerve, which goes by your ear, goes down all the way into your diaphragm. So like right around here, around your rib cage. So I've had some interesting fascia sensations around the rib cage. I feel like something opened up and I'm breathing better, like into my left side, which is always tight. The left side is always tight. But it's just interesting. I feel like I'm breathing better into that side just with doing stuff. And one of the things I'm doing this week is I'm supposed to do a smile, tongue on the spot, and hold it for 5 seconds. And when I do that, you can see how much compensation those muscles. It's interesting. Never would have thought my tongue was as restricted as it is. But anyway, I've just been super interesting feeling like pulling sensations right around, like breastbone is here. So like around the sides of there, just like the fascia is pulling or something is lengthening or something's happening. It's very interesting. But yeah, because the vagus nerve has innervations through your diaphragm into your heart, into your stomach, into the colon. Like it literally is like this line that just goes all the way down. And the tongue goes right alongside it, essentially, in the anatomy of it. The tongue and the fascia, that goes like right alongside. Super interesting. So once again, I'm in my car post, let me turn off this fans. So yeah, I'm in my car post craniosacral massage. This is my last one before my release because I've been doing them leading up till now. Of course, I look kind of bedraggled because I just got out of the massage with my hair sticking out. But it was super cool, as always. Very cool. As I'd mentioned in one of my previous videos, I'd been having some pulling like on my diaphragm from some of the new stretches that I've been doing. So she was actually able to get in there and release some of that because there was some fascial adhesions going on. We think it was pulling on the psoas muscle, which sits kind of at your hip. We think that the psoas was not able to release because there was some fascia holding on to it. So she was able to get in there and release that. And I felt it all the way up in my sternum because where I was saying I was feeling the pulling was kind of like down in here. And I was able to feel it all the way pulling up in the sternum, which is super cool. Because when I was feeling that pulling, I was like, what's going on? Like, what is going on here? I have no idea. I've never felt any like muscles pulling in this area before. So yeah, it was super duper cool. And she's got me all fixed up in my neck. So, cause that is super tight muscles. The new exercises I've been doing have really been working, the muscles at the back of my neck, and they're not used to being worked how they've been working. So they're tight. But yeah, all in all, super exciting. And yeah, I'm really excited to come back after I've had my tie released and see what changes. And with my last chiropractor appointment before my release, I'm excited. They've been really good sports with being dragged to my various appointments, preparing for it. But yeah, so tomorrow's the day and I got all adjusted. Hopefully it will stay until tomorrow. That's one of the things I'm wondering if it will improve after I get this fixed, is chiropractic alignment, because I tend to get out of whack really easily and I can't really trace it to anything else except that restriction. So we are on the way to the procedure. We stopped to get gas on the way. My hair has not even dried from where I took a shower, so that's why I look stupid. But yeah, so I'm really excited. I brought all of my pain kit with all of my stuff in case I need it. Probably will buy some ibuprofen on the way, just because if it's really excruciating afterwards, I'm not opposed to doing ibuprofen for a day. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. I've heard varying reports on how it is, but anyway, kiddos are with us.
I dropped that thing.
Getting very excited. Kind of nervous. I mean, I've kind of prepared myself for all possibilities, because they block an hour for your appointment and you do the consultation, and if everything looks good and you know it looks like it's in a good spot to release, I've been doing my homework, then it will be released. And there's always a small possibility that he might be like, oh, this doesn't look like we should do it because of this or that, or your tongue's not ready yet, or whatever. So I'm kind of like mentally preparing for all the possibilities, and also for afterwards, because of course the mouth heals really quick, and that's part of the problem. We want to be stretching the wound and all that. So, but I'll keep you posted. really crazy. And when I went in there for the assessment, he actually mentioned that I have pretty good range of motion, but when I tried to get my back of my tongue up, it wouldn't do that. And he said that the restriction can, you know, cause that to happen. So anyway, yeah, so the procedure was like totally painless. They did the little numbing pad on it, and then he actually, you know, put in some local anesthetic so that I wouldn't feel anything. But I did smell it when it was burning because it's a laser. But yeah, and it's really crazy. When I was actually having the release part done, when he did my upper lip, I felt like I had some interesting release on my upper right hip. Something happened in my upper right hip. And then I was also laying down for, of course, the rest of the release on the tongue part. And when he did the tongue part, I actually noticed that I felt my left side is always really tight. I felt some loosening there. And then I also felt like my neck had been really scrunched down, like because you're laying there on the table, I felt like my neck had been really, really scrunched down. And then when he started working on the tongue, it's almost like my neck went like telescope back. It could feel it do it. He could feel like my head was moving, which was really cool because that just means that I was getting some length in that neck. And I also took a picture of myself before I had the release of what like my neck extension ability, and I can put my neck all the way back. I feel like an owl. I can look both sides fully, which for me, for a long time, looking over one shoulder was even hard because it's just so tight. But yeah, so I felt the major muscle releases. But I've got my milkshake here to help with the pain. And I actually decided, when I saw what the wound looked like, I actually decided I'm going to be doing the ibuprofen and the Motrin and all the drugs just for a day or two while it heals. Yeah, so and interestingly, so when I was going to craniosacral, the gal was working inside my mouth, and she noticed that the right side was insanely tight. So she was feeling in there and noticed that it felt very different than the left side. When he got in there, the doctor got in there and was releasing, he released more on the left side than on the right side. But he ended up releasing more on the right side than the left side, which interestingly, that really made sense from what I had seen with the massage therapist, like confirmed that for what he was doing. But it was really cool. And when walking around, like, I feel like gravity's not pulling me down to the ground as much. It's kind of hard to explain it, but I feel like I'm looser and like more fluid when I was walking around after the procedure. Normally, you know, if I'd been sitting in the car for 2 hours, you know, I would feel kind of stiff and like, I didn't feel anything. So, and as you can see, I can talk just fine, which Hudson may have been hoping that I would have some problems talking because I talk a lot. But
that didn't happen.
That did not happen. No, I was like, came out of the appointment, was like, oh my gosh, obviously it's starting to get sore in there from all of that, and I'm going to have to do stretches. I know that that's going to be the worst part, is stretching it when it hurts. Just keeping everything fluid and moving and all that is going to be part of the challenge for this. But all in all, I set my expectations not super high, like that I would actually experience anything while the release was happening, but I definitely noticed those changes. I couldn't believe, like, wow, this is so cool. And even like, as I've said in my other video, I feel like I had that left side tightness down my leg as well. And I honestly feel like it's so much better. Like already that side of my foot, it's almost like it was down to my toe, was extra tight. And it's actually been like, I've noticed that doesn't feel as tight. So that's really cool. But I'll keep updating on as the days go by with this, because it's gonna, you know, it's gonna take a little bit to heal, and I've got to keep it moving and keep putting cold things on it. So, but yeah, very excited for the progress so far, and I was very impressed with how everything went. Like I said, I just feel like I'm just very fluid, and yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so I don't have on any makeup, clearly, and I have not brushed my hair, but I wanted to update. I went to the chiropractor just a minute ago, and this is the first time I've been to the chiropractor since my tie revision, and I actually didn't have very many places to adjust, which is cool. I had a couple places on my neck and mid-back, which is normal for me. But interestingly, so she did some muscle releases for me too, and one of the muscle releases she did was I think in a previous video I'd mentioned that I was feeling some pulling under my rib cage, and the vagus nerve innervates down there. And also C3, where she adjusted, apparently shares innervation with the vagus nerve. So that all makes complete sense. And I'm glad I asked her, because she was doing the adjustments like at my sternum and then like further up and a little bit down low. And she was like, oh yeah, it's actually from the vagus nerve needing to be released, the muscles around it. Which, guess what? The vagus nerve innervates near the tongue, right? It's kind of insane. So anyway, I just want to update with that, because I was like, oh, that makes total sense. And also confirms everything that I've read about the vagus nerve and the tongue sharing connections. So very cool.